I'm Robert Williams from MetalRules.com, and joining me today in Austin, Texas is Joacim of HAMMERFALL, who are currently in the midst of wrapping up their current North American tour in support of last year's No Sacrifice, No Victory album. How are you doing today?
A bit tired, I would say. Like you said, it's the end of the tour. We've been out for more than 5 weeks, and you know, you will get drained after a while. You know, waking up at 4 in the afternoon, having breakfast at 5. I mean, it's getting close to lunch, and it's 8 p.m. So, apart from that, we're doing good.
So tomorrow night's show at the Meridian in Houston is the last night on the tour.
Yeah.
What have been some of your personal tour highlights so far?
I think the overall feeling of the tour has been better than I expected. I mean, in some territories, like in New York, in Los Angeles, you know, it's always good. But we also did some really good shows in places we didn't expect anything. Like these places you have to pass on the way to, you know, from A to B. You have to pass a little, you know, place somewhere to park the bus, and you do a show.
Yeah.
And those places, you know, when you get like 300-400 people there, like, yeah, it's a fucking victory.
So you guys first came over in the late '90s with Death, and then I think last time you guys were over was supporting Dio for the Crimson Thunder album.
We also did tour 2005 together with Ed Guy, our first headline tour, like a co-headlining tour. I think that was like 3 or 4 weeks.
But this one's kind of special because it's your first full-on headlining tour, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So are you guys planning on coming back every album now, or?
Hopefully. I mean, we still believe that there is a market over here for melodic, you know, European heavy metal. But it's really hard to reach out to the people. I mean, the people we meet at every show are the diehard fans and some of their friends. But I mean, only playing live won't make a difference. We need help in, you know, other you know, from the media as well. Like what you're doing now, it's great for us that people are able to at least, you know, see my face and maybe see a video and check out the music and so on. So, I mean, it's a lot of hard work. You know, you need to have a cunning plan when it comes to the, you know, touring. And we will come back. Well, first of all, to do Pro Power in September in Atlanta, and then we're going to release a new album like in May next year, and we'll see, you know, when we will come back. But of course we're going to come back. But if maybe we're going to try and get a support tour for, you know, a much bigger band. Maybe that is the answer to, you know, it's really hard to travel around doing like 5, 6, 7 weeks playing clubs with no dressing room, no shower when you're 40 years old. I think it's cooler when you're 20. But it's bad for morale when you're 40-ish.
So when you say a much bigger band, is there anyone top of your list that you'd like to tour with?
Of course, I would love to go with Maiden.
Yeah.
And now they're doing their Dream Theater.
Yeah.
This summer. So maybe next time.
So let's talk about your latest album. I can't really call it a new album anymore. Last year, but
latest. Yeah.
No Sacrifice, No Victory. It earned you guys a gold record over in Sweden, and also you know, charted really well around the globe, but landed number 38 on the Billboard Heat Seeker chart here in the U.S. Do you guys feel like it's kind of accomplished all that you set out to with the...
Well, in Sweden, I would say fantastic with the #1 and the gold album, the gold award. In Germany, we charted on position 7, which is fantastic in a country like Germany. So yeah, maybe in some territories we were hoping for a little boost in sales, but at the same time you can't really compare the sales of an album today and 10 years ago due to the fact that there are barely no record stores left.
Yeah.
I mean, around here you probably need a Best Buy to buy a CD. Otherwise you just have to go online, either you download it or you know, buy it.
Yeah.
Download.
Yeah,
so,
the record store is getting fewer and fewer over here. So there's also been some lineup changes since the last time I saw you guys over here. Let's start with Pontus. Pontus Norgren replaces Stephen Elfgren on guitar. How did you find Pontus?
Anders knows him from, you know, way back. We got to know him during the European tour for Threshold when he was playing with the Poodles, and they were supporting HAMMERFALL on that tour. So then we got to know him. We knew him, you know, by name. We met him as a sound engineer for Europe, and he was doing Candlemass, and, you know, as a sound engineer. You know, I made a phone call. I asked him, you know, do you know any good guitar players that would, you know, fit HAMMERFALL? Well, I would love to, he said. Well, thank you. You said it. I did not ask. But since we were so close friends after the tour with the band The Poodles, I didn't want to call him and say, hey, do you want to play with HAMMERFALL?
Yeah.
I didn't want to steal him from the band. I wanted him to ask me.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah. So then he came to Gothenburg. We tried out 3 guitar players, and we decided to go with Pontus because he has a great tone in his playing.
So on No Sacrifice, No Victory, he composed the instrumental Something for the Ages. Can you see
it was kind of an introduction to introduce himself. We asked him, just write something that would represent you.
So Frederick Larson has also returned to the band. Originally on Glory to the Brave Chorus, now he's back after the departure of Magnus Rosen. Have you stayed in contact with Frederick all these years?
Yeah, he after I did my solo album, I went on tour, and then I had him as a bass player on tour. And I always, felt he was a really good bass player. Also, the fact that he's using a pick instead of his fingers gives the sound a more like metal feel, I would say. So when we tried bass players, same thing there. 3 bass players. Called him up and asked him, if he would be interested. And of course, he said, it would be stupid not to.
So also on the new album, the track One of a Kind, where Oscar and Jesper, formerly of In Flames, collaborated. How did that come about?
We sat one day having a couple of beers, watching Little Britain. Little Britain? No, it's a comedy, you have to check it out. Little Britain, the live version we saw. And I said, you know what, maybe we should write something together again. Maybe we can recreate the magic we had on the first 3 albums. So, but this was at the end of the songwriting process, so they were, kind of swapping ideas and came up with this. I added I know Jesper had the melody for the chorus was there. And Oscar and I was working on a second song that all of a sudden we put everything together. We took 2 songs and made 1 out of it. So that was how this song happened. And it's a great song. And some of the guys in the band, they really want to play it live, but it's also the most high-pitched song on the album. There's some notes in there I don't think I can, on a bad day, I can't even, come close.
So another collaboration I really wanted to ask you about was on Chapter 5, Unbent, Unbowed, Unbroken. You worked with Kronos, legendary Kronos and Venom. Go into that in great detail if you want.
I mean, the producer we're working with, Charlie Bauerfein, he also worked with Venom in the past. We were talking about, who could we add, to this album, to this song, to make it, special, to get a little more, not like I said, just to make it a little different. And we were name dropping, we're talking, maybe Lemmy, blah blah blah. I said, no, Kronos, that would be great. And he said, well, yes, let me ask him. So, called him up and asked him if he wanted to do it, and oh yeah, he said, he would love to do it. So we just gave him a few lines, do some screaming here, you sing or speak these, lines, and we put things together. And then we met him in the summer. He came to visit us at a festival. Came to say hi, and it was really cool. Really, yeah, he's a great guy.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Venom meant so much for us.
So, I gotta ask you, since you're in Texas, did you cross paths with any of the Riot guys?
No, we'd love to meet them. That would be so cool.
Well, I know Donnie Van Stavern's out in San Antonio. Hopefully he comes by tonight.
Okay. Yeah, Riot, they're cool guys. One of my absolute favorite bands.
So another thing I really wanted to ask you about, man, I've been watching your Templar Renegade Crusades DVD and heavy rotation, getting psyched for this show. In the absence of guys like Chuck Schuldiner, Richard Christie, does the WH still run in the blood of Hammerfall?
Yeah. We were there, when was that? In Tucson last night.
Stopped at a Waffle House
in
Tucson?
And we had like a handful of quarters into the jukebox, listening to the special Waffle House songs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You ever gonna resurrect the Waffle House live bands?
The Waffle Heads?
Yeah.
One day, eventually. We met Richard in New York also, so I mean, maybe one day it's a tribute to Chuck.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So what's next for Hammerfall after this current tour wraps up?
Just gonna go home and try to, survive the jet lag. Then we're gonna go to the UK for a tour beginning May. Then we have a lot of festivals.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk metal today.
Well, thank you.
Any last words for your fans before we wrap this up?
You know what? You know who you are. Thank you very much for the support so far. Next time we come around, bring your friends and make the party bigger. Yeah.